The internet has created a new opportunity. If you can write like a fifth grader, you can make millions. Well, at least that's what Cardinal Mason got thousands of people to believe. And the reason Cardinal Mason got all these people to believe they can make a bunch of money writing as a fifth grader is because he knew he could make millions of dollars. And it worked. He made $3,181,300. Crazy, I know. So how did he make all of that money? And what does that have to do with people having this belief? Well, Cardinal Mason knew that if people had this belief, then all they'd have to do is find the right guidance. And he could charge thousands of dollars for this guidance by selling a high ticket offer. But obviously, this isn't your average high ticket offer, right? I mean, he wouldn't have made $3 million if it was. From the offer to the way he sold it to everything. I mean, it's just so smart. So if you're a coach, influencer, or creator, watching this video is going to be super important if you're thinking of selling something or you are already selling something. Real quick, before I get into this video, if you're new to the channel, my name's Alexi and I help coaches, creators, and influencers sell out-of-the-box high-ticket offers like Cardinal Mason. And in the past few months, I've been able to generate over $500,000 for my clients. Right now, we're actually looking for one more coach, creator, or influencer to work one-on-one with to build an out-of-the-box high-ticket offer. If you're interested in something like that, hit me up on Instagram, alexi.archived. So, what is this genius offer which I think anybody who put enough effort in could easily replicate? Well, I guess you could call it TGC, and the best part about it is that it's only 3 steps long. First, we need to get as many people to see our content as possible. It doesn't really matter what we're posting yet. We don't have to speak to our ICP yet, so we could be posting broad content. Then we want the people seeing our content to be interested in whatever we're selling. So this could be giving out free resources, making an undercover video sales letter, and kind of etc. And the last step of the process is actually converting the leads. At this point, they know, like, and trust you, so it's the easiest time to take their money. So we're gonna take it. So now that you understand the process on a high level, let's dive into it a little bit deeper. So let's start with the first part of the process, which is the most important part. Because if no one knows what you're selling, how are they even meant to buy it to begin with? How Cardinal Mason gets traffic is through Instagram, YouTube, X, TikTok, and podcasts. So let's start with Instagram because it's a fairly big traffic source. So Cardinal Mason is pretty big on Instagram. He has around 87,000 followers. And he's doing a few things to get more followers and get more traction, engagement, whatever you want to call it. First, he's posting reels. He's basically taking what he posts on TikTok and reposts it onto Instagram. And what that does is it just drives more traffic to his offer. And at the end of every single reel that he makes, he has a call to action at the end. And the call to action is usually to DM him some sort of word. And he has a really smart DM funnel in place, which I'm going to get into a little bit later. Next, he has posts. What he's doing is he's flexing lifestyle on these posts, right? He's flexing Lambos, Ferraris, dinners, houses, whatever. And what that's doing is it's basically just kind of building social proof. Now, we have the DM sequences. This is a pretty big part in driving traffic to his offer. Because first, let's say he makes a post, let's say he makes a reel, for example. It's a normal reel, he's giving free value, and there's a call to action at the end. And the call to action, let's say, is to comment the word copy. And he's going to DM every single one of those people who DMs him the word copy. And he's actually really good with the DM sequences. So here's kind of the old way of doing DM sequences. And I'm not hating on whoever's sequence this is, but I feel like there's a much better way to do it. So here's kind of it. Yo, it's JasonBot, here's my viral hook library. Make sure to open it on your computer and duplicate it onto your Notion workspace. Drop a value for more free value, and then this is pretty much it, right? End of the conversation, you're not converting anybody. If somebody sees this, they're just clicking on the link and they got what they asked for. There's nothing really to say from there. But here's kind of the new way, which I've been doing for my clients, and it's been working really well, and it seems to be working really well for him. So you're gonna respond something like this. Let's say they applied for a free copywriting template for whatever it could be, right? And let's say they DM you copy in this case. Then you can reply back with, "What's up? I saw you commented on my post," or "What's up? Thank you for reaching out," if they DM to you. And then you can say, "Curious, what has you interested in copywriting specifically?" So at this point, they pretty much forgot everything that happened before this. They forgot about the copywriting template, they forgot about whatever. It's a random guy, it's not a random guy, let's say they know him, but let's say this guy on Instagram with 87,000 followers DMing you, asking you what kind of got you into copywriting, asking you what kind of got you into copywriting. You're going to want to speak to this guy, right? And obviously it's not Mason reaching out. He probably has an appointment setter who starts these conversations. And what's happening in these conversations is that they're diving deeper into the struggles. They're creating a problem, then they're creating a gap, and then they're making the audience take the next step to solve the problem, which could be booking a call, watching a video sales letter, joining a webinar, or whatever it could be. And that's something you're definitely going to want to be doing. Next, we have story sequences. And story sequences, I don't know if I've talked about this before on my channel, but story sequences are really, really important. And he's doing story sequences, which is good. But the problem is that they're kind of bad. So let me just show you the sequence real quick. So it just says, just had 3 more people this week cross 5k a month with copywriting. So much fun seeing people replace their income. DM me, coach, if you want to be next. Let's hop on a call this weekend and we can get you to 5k a month in the next 90 days, right? So this is a sequence. With an audience like his, this is not what you want to be doing. Here's how you need to go about story sequences. First, you need a hook, because just like with Reels, people tend to stay around a little bit longer when you have a hook. Then you need a story, then a case study, which is kind of like giving proof, and then you have a call to action at the very end. So I think what he's trying to do here is a case study sequence, right? Because he's saying, just had 3 more people this week cross 5k a month, and then he kind of has the proof over here. But here's kind of how I would do a case study sequence if I was helping him grow his offer. So this is the first story, right? And as you can also see with these sequences, just on the first kind of like note, I'm always changing the background here, right? I'm making it a lot more interesting and engaging. You want to do everything to boost engagement. Here, it's the same background. It's kind of boring, right? So the first sequence is we're going to be raising prices for Copy MBA, which is the name of this program, in 5 days. And then I'm going to write the date. So 17th of July by $2,000. We've built an absolute killer program that's been getting results left and right. And then as you're going to see here, I put next story just to kind of boost engagement and tell people that they actually need to scroll and not just click off. And by the way, the hook and the call to action, they always need to stay in the same space. But you can kind of mix around with the case study and the story. So here I'm just putting case study first. So last month, 13 people joined the coaching program. 30 days later, they're all making $3,000 a month. Then I kind of have the proof. I have one case study. And then I said, that's impossible. How does that work, right? So it's a common objection. It's because we have systems that actually work. And when we place them into your business and you take action, you end up making a lot of money. Then again, we got the next story. Then they're kind of engaged into the story at this point. So a lot of you guys are stuck at $0 a month and know it's a problem, yet still take 0 action. And here you're kind of seeing we're changing the color just to make it a little bit more engaging. I see it every day. That's why I don't chase people to join the Copy MBA program. It shouldn't take that much convincing that paying me and my team to give them the right information, work one-on-one with them to apply it, and then keep them accountable is the right decision. Everyone who works with us and puts in at least 4 hours a day gets results. And we got next story again. And here we are. So this is the last step, which is basically saying the call to action. Now the Copy MBA is proven to get results again and again. We're not keeping the original price much longer. We got a bit of social proof here again. Last 5 days to lock in the original price before we raise it by $2,000. DM OG price if you're interested, right? So you got the call to action. We built a story. We're saying we got results. This is not even a killer sequence, right? I could probably make this a lot better. I built this in like 10 minutes. But the point is, with story sequences, you really want to invest your time. Because let's say you get 1,000 views on your story, right? Which I would say is typical for a usual creator, let's say 10 to 20,000 followers. All these people already pretty much know, like, and trust you. They're a lot easier to convert. And also, one more tip with story sequences, if you're planning on doing them, is don't post them too much, because they work too well. There's a reason why people like even Iman Gachi are doing story sequences. They work, but you don't want to spam them. So my advice to you would be doing 1 to 2 of these, let's say every month. You don't want to go too crazy on them. I'd say maximum 1 every 1.5 weeks. Now, the next thing he's doing for Instagram is highlights. Everybody does highlights. If you don't know what highlights are, it's the thing that's, so you have your profile right here, and then under here you have like kind of saved stories. And what he's doing with highlights is he's spamming case studies, and that's exactly what you should be doing. And it's kind of just giving them more proof and more of a reason to DM you. Next, we have YouTube. YouTube's a pretty big thing for most creators, just because over a 10 to 20 minute video, you can get the audience to know, like, and trust you a lot better than with, let's say, a 60-second reel. So he's pretty much doing the same thing for every video. He's not like Iman, who has kind of like different niched videos and a whole content planner and everything like that. He's just kind of posting pretty much the same niche stuff every video. And at the end of every video, he has this call to action, which is the same link in every video, but I'm going to get to that call to action into a second. Next, we have X, which is formerly known as Twitter. And he's just kind of posting his thoughts here. You can tell someone's political affiliation based solely on if they call Twitter X. He's just, as you can tell here, this isn't really to do with business. He's just kind of posting his thoughts here, right? And then in his bio, he just has a call to action to the same thing as Instagram, but I'm going to get into that into a second. Next, we got TikTok, and he's really big on TikTok. And when I look at working with creators, and just like creators in general, you shouldn't look at your follower count as a deciding factor. I've worked with creators who have 800,000 followers and literally made nearly $0. So what you want to look at is engagement. And as you can see here, he has good engagement. And when you're getting even 30,000 views a post, that's when I'd say that that's a good time to start selling. And what Cardinal Mason's doing here is he's spamming TikTok with a bunch of videos talking about copywriting, landing clients, getting results, everything to do with copywriting he's doing. And then of course it's a call to action at the end of every video, because like I said before, he's just kind of reposting his TikToks onto YouTube. And as you can see here, he's getting 30,000 views a video. Around this, you can see 30,000, 30,000, 30,000, 30,000, 30,000. They're all around 30,000. And he's posting, I think, multiple times a day. So this is pretty usual engagement for someone who's posting that much. And then, of course, he's got that call to action in his bio. And the last thing he's doing is podcasts. And I think most creators are doing podcasts, but I don't think anybody's going as hard as him onto podcasts. This is what I found in like 2 minutes of searching. I thought I had enough thumbnails ready, but there's a bunch of them on YouTube. He's been on a lot of podcasts. It seems like he's going on a new podcast every single day. And people who are seeing these podcasts, right, they're looking him up on, I mean, if they like what he's saying, they're going to look him up on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, X, Twitter, etc., right? And then they get straight back into the funnel, right? They get straight back into the Instagram funnel. They get straight back into the YouTube funnel and eventually click onto that call to action. So let's say they went through one of these funnels, right? Let's just say for this example, they went through the Instagram funnel, and let's say they went through a DM, whatever, and they got sent into his funnel, right? So now he needs to make all these people watching his content actually become interested into whatever he's selling. And the way he does that is by giving them an absolutely free training, which you're going to learn in a second. It's not really a training. But what he's doing for people to access the training, it's not $50, it's not $100, it's not $200, it's not even $3,000. You just need to give your name so that they can personalize their emails and messages, your email, and your phone number. That's it. And then you're going to get the free training, right? So what they're doing with the emails and the phone numbers is they're basically going to be sending you kind of like outreach. They're going to be sending you messages, right? So let's start with SMS messages. I didn't get any SMS messages from them, so maybe they're just saving that in the future. Maybe they need it later, or maybe they're just going to start cold calling everybody who's on their messages list. But in terms of emails, they're pretty consistent with emails. As you can see here, they're doing daily emails. So July 9th, July 10th, July 11th, they're all pretty much daily. So the first email that I got from him, he's just kind of trying to start a conversation, right? So it's, hey Alexi, I saw you applied for the inner circle, so I thought I'd reach out to see if I can help you at all. What has you looking into copywriting, right? So he's basically just trying to start a conversation. The second email, I'm not going to read through it because it's pretty much the same as the first email, just it's coming from someone else. So the first guy's John and the second guy's Sawyer. And then for the third email, John's back at it, and he's kind of just giving you some more free resources to kind of further nurture you. Once you give up your name to personalize the emails, your phone number, and your email address, then you're going to be redirected to this page. And this page is basically pretty simple. So we got the headline, which isn't the same anymore. They changed it. Then we got the source, so the video. We got the call to action under the video, which is apply for one-on-one coaching. Then we got a headline, which is basically saying, yeah, here are our results. And then they got some video results here, so they're kind of spamming the proof here. Then we got another call to action, apply for one-on-one coaching, which is a call to action. Then he's spamming proof. And as you can see here, there's only 3 Discord messages here, but it's a lot more than that. I kind of just had to cut it down, otherwise it'd be too big for this Miro board. But there's a bunch of proof there. There's spamming proof, which is what you should do if you have testimonials. Then we got another call to action. So let's break down this video right here, which they're giving out right under the headline. So what is happening in this video? Well, for the first minute, he's kind of just introducing himself like, hey, my name's Mason, and in this video, we're going to be looking at this free training, whatever. Obviously, he doesn't say that, but he says something along those lines. So he's kind of just introducing you to himself, and then he's setting the agenda. Then, for the next kind of 15 seconds, he's using himself as a case study. Like, I went from $12 an hour to making $50K a month. Then he said kind of like, yeah, I thought I got lucky, so I tried to help my brother do the same thing. And it worked for him as well for the next 15 seconds again. And then when it worked for his brother too, he's listing a bunch of people that he helped, and it worked for them too for another half an hour. For another 30 seconds. So he just has a bunch of case studies, and he's totally leveraging those. Then, for the next around minute and 15 seconds, he's kind of talking about the system and the mechanism that helped him get there, which is copywriting. Then he talks about how anybody can do it. Then he compares it to other businesses, right? So he's comparing it to the agency model, to the dropshipping model, to all these different models. Then he's talking about why it works, and he goes in depth on why it works, because most people, they're pretty skeptical at this point still. So he spends 2.5 minutes going over why it works and kind of how it works. Then he's hyping up the system, which the mechanism, whatever. He's hyping up copywriting, how good it is, how well it works, everything like that. Then he's talking about what's inside the program, what's inside when you start working with them, and their guarantee. Then they go over case studies, which is just other guys that they've helped do this before. And another thing that I've noticed here is that they only spent 1 minute going over case studies. Again, he could definitely go on for a little bit longer. And then he talks about the next steps, which could be clicking on the button below. After they click onto this button right here, they're going to be redirected to a new page again. And this page is basically going to be giving them a form which they can fill out like this. And at the end of the form, they're going to be able to book a call if they're qualified. And by qualified, I just mean they have money. So if they have between $2,000 and I think it's $4,000, so I think it's between $2,000 and $4,000, they can book in a call with them and see if they would be a good fit. Now, my guess is that they probably have an offer at $2,500, which is kind of a downsell, and the main kind of sell is the $4,000 offer. And if they can't afford the $4,000 offer, they're going to downsell them on the $2,500 offer. So now we're getting into the last step of the process, which is actually converting the leads. So at this stage, they pretty much know, like, and trust Mason. So they've probably seen him on their For You page or in an advertisement. They have a connection with Mason after watching a bunch of his videos, and they trust Mason because they've seen so much of his content and already got free value from him. Now, the audience wants to solve a problem which Mason has created for them, which is building a copywriting business, and Mason just so conveniently has the gap, has the solution to their problem. And they've seen Mason help a bunch of other people in their exact situation, so it's kind of building trust. And then they also have the time and the money for the program. And if they don't have the time, then they can make time. And if they don't have the money, they can get a job, because 2 to 4K, I'm not going to say it's a little amount of money, but you can easily make that in 1 to 2 months getting a side job. And obviously, these aren't the only thing. There's a bunch of things which they're feeling. There's so many factors going into them knowing, liking, and trusting him, right? There's a lot more. But the point is that they're really, really easy to close. It really shows, because Mason's been able to make over $3 million selling to his pretty much mid-sized audience. Now, the crazy thing about this is that he didn't build and he doesn't manage this funnel himself, right? He's too busy driving his Ferrari. He has an entire team who build and operate the back end of the system while he can focus on making content. So that, he can relax all day and do what he likes doing most, like hanging out with friends, pursuing his hobbies, and etc. while still making a bunch of money. And he's hired someone to build the whole entire thing for him, pretty much. Someone who's coming up with the funnel, making the landing page, managing the team, creating the video scripts, and maybe even creating all the stories which he posts to convert the leads. And even if Mason would be focusing on building the back-end infrastructures of the business, building things like the funnel, building things like the offer, the business would pretty much die, because then he wouldn't have enough time to create content, drive the traffic, because that's pretty much the most important thing of the whole entire funnel. Everything I showed you in this video won't work without traffic, because how is someone meant to buy something without even knowing that it exists? And this also isn't just the case for Mason, with around 1 million followers across all platforms. Even if you only have 20,000 followers, managing the backend infrastructure yourself is going to lose you a bunch of sales and a bunch of money. And as of right now, this is what every content creator is doing. They're taking a scalable product like this, let's say a high ticket offer, then make sure it's what their audience actually wants, make sure that the offer is product market fit, and then they promote it to their audience. And that's also how Cardinal Mason's been able to make over $3 million. So with that being said, if you're a coach, influencer, or creator, or anyone who just gets a lot of attention on the internet and maybe wants help implementing a high ticket offer or whatever offer, or you maybe already have an offer but you want to just scale it to the moon, then hit me up. I'm going to be having my Instagram, alexi.archived, linked in the description of this video. Just DM me the word Mason so that I know that you came for this video and we can talk about monetizing your audience. And if you found this video valuable, then like and subscribe. It's free and it means a lot more than you could ever imagine.